All right, listen up. If you're prepping for the SSC MTS exam, you're going to want to see this. Seriously, the game has changed. Today, we're cracking open the February 9th Shift 3 paper to uncover the new patterns that are tripping people up. So let's just get right into it. A lot of you out there are probably finding that your old study habits, just hammering through those previous year's questions, well, they're just not cutting it anymore, are they? So what gives? Has the exam totally changed on us? Let's dig in and find out. So here's the plan. First, we're going to talk about this new challenge everyone's facing. Then, we'll look at the actual evidence, the questions themselves from history, geography, you name it. After we've pieced it all together, we'll show you the new pattern that's emerging. And finally, we'll give you a whole new study blueprint to get you ready. All right, first things first, let's talk about the big problem here. It kind of feels like the ground has shifted under everyone's feet, right? And look, figuring out what that shift is, that's step one to getting ahead of it. And here it is, the big takeaway. You can really only count on those old previous year questions for about 20 to 30% of the paper now. Let that sink in for a second. That's it. Most of the questions are brand new, which means, yep, your study strategy has to change. Big time. Okay, enough talk. Let's get our hands dirty and look at the actual evidence. We're going to dive into some real questions from the exam, starting with history and culture, and see what they're really asking these days. Okay, check this one out. At first glance, it seems like a pretty standard history question, right? But what's the hidden message here? It's telling us that the Delhi Sultanate is still a super important, high-value topic. You just can't skip it. The answer, of course, is 1206 to 1210. And this is key because it shows that even if the types of questions are changing, the core topics, the really important stuff, that's not going anywhere. And look, we see the same thing happening again. This one hones in on Mughal architecture, and it's becoming crystal clear that this is a major focus area for them. So, the answer's Akbar between 1571 and 1585. But here's the really juicy part. Questions about Fatehpur Sikri have been popping up in multiple shifts. This isn't some random one-off question. It's a huge clue, a big flashing sign pointing to a topic you've got to know inside and out. Now, this next one is a little different, a little trickier. It asks about the Khokar tribe. See what they're doing? They're going beyond the big names, the emperors and dynasties, and testing if you know the regional players from that same time period. The answer is Punjab. And this shows you, plain and simple, that you've got to go deeper than just the main headlines in your textbook. You need to understand what was happening on a regional level, too. All right, let's switch gears. Let's see how this same pattern, this focus on deep, specific knowledge, shows up in geography and science. And trust me, the clues here are just as good. Whoa, look how specific this question is. They're not asking about rivers in general. This is a hard number, a pure data point, testing if you know the nitty-gritty details about our national infrastructure. And the answer is 891 kilometers, running along the Brahmaputra River. A question like this is a real wake-up call, isn't it? It proves that just kind of knowing about a topic isn't going to cut it. You have to know the specifics. Okay, now this is really interesting. This study of type question is popping up all over the place. And get this, it's not just in GK. You might even see it in the English section as a one-word substitution. Smart, huh? The term is oralology, and this is a perfect example of how you can study smarter, not just harder. If you master these scientific terms, you could be scoring points in two different parts of the exam. That's a huge win. All right, let's jump from the past to the present. How does all this play out in current events and general knowledge? Let's take a look. So here we have a books and authors question. But wait a minute, this isn't one of those same old titles we see year after year. This is something new, something fresh. It means you've got to be current. The answer is Karen Beatty. And the choice of this author tells us a lot. It signals a trend, a shift towards books by well-known modern figures in India. They're moving away from those old classic author lists. So we've looked at history, geography, and GK. We've seen all these little clues. So what does it all mean? What's the big picture? It's time to connect the dots and reveal the new pattern. And this right here breaks it down perfectly. The old way was just focusing on past questions, right? Well, the new reality is about focusing on the core topics. It's not about rote memorization anymore. It's about really understanding the concepts so you can handle those curveball questions they're throwing at you. And these are the topics we're talking about. We're seeing them again and again across different shifts. Things like Mughal and Delhi Sultanate architecture, folk dances, recent books and authors, sports terms, and those scientific study of terms. These are your new high priority targets. Okay, so knowing the pattern is half the battle, but the other half is actually using that knowledge. So the big question is, how do you adapt your study plan? Well, let's lay out a new blueprint for you, something you can actually use. Here it is. This is your new game plan. Step 1, stop just blindly solving old papers. Start analyzing them for these reoccurring themes. Step 2, take those high-frequency topics we just talked about and go deep. Use good books, build a solid foundation. And finally, focus on really understanding the concepts, the why behind the facts. That way, you'll be ready for anything. So what's the bottom line here? The pattern isn't some big secret anymore. The path to clearing this exam has changed. It's all about strategic, smart, topic-based learning, not just memorizing old answers. Now you know the pattern, so which of these key topics are you gonna tackle first? The ball's in your court. Thanks for joining me.